everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kassiah and this is SiahSwag, and I have a new tutorial for you guys today. This pattern is the cutest little pattern I've seen in a long time. It is the Marzia bucket bag. Hopefully I'm saying that right. From Kaur threads. Sandeep knocked this one out of the park. It is gorgeous. It's summery. It's cute. I haven't seen a good bucket bag drawstring pattern in quite a while. And it is so good. It is so good. I absolutely love it. This was my first run through. This tutorial was my first run through with this bag. I was successful. I didn't have any issues. So like I always say, take your time, go slow, and you guys can make anything. Okay, let's go over this cutie bag. She's meant to be a little slouchy because it needs to be able to pull in with the drawstring. So not a lot of structure is needed for this bag. It is meant for vinyl, faux leather materials. You could probably do a canvas as well. It's meant for heavier materials, so keep that in mind. The only interfacing that I did use was on this bottom base piece here that goes around, and the very base. I did Decaville heavy out of my seam allowances, Decaville light here. Trying to think where else. There are some other reinforcement interfacings that you do for the rivets and whatnot, but pretty easy, not a lot of interfacing. Okay, so this bag has cute little pockets all throughout. I love that so much. It's got a shoulder strap here, which I mentioned at the end. I would maybe shorten this for myself if I was going to keep it. I would probably shorten it to about there or make it adjustable. So there are those two. I say in the cutout that I didn't do the strap. I ended up doing the strap. I just really wanted to get it all put together. The handles are so adorable on this bag. They look so classy the way she has them assembled. Absolutely love it. I did edge coat the little drawstring tab. I highly recommend it. It really looks good edge coated. So yeah, do it. So you pull this down, pull that little drawstring tab down, and you can open it up. Look at this. Look at this bag. She's very pretty. I have a overlay zipper pocket there and just a slip pocket here. Pretty simple on the lining. I did a canvas lining and it turned out gorgeous. I really like it. All of my vinyl is pebbled faux real from Tulip Bee. All of my inside canvas print is Love Lola. It is such a cute print. She's got really classy looking materials there. If you're looking to kind of make your bag look upscale, I highly recommend it. A lot of people are going to look at this bag and say, ooh, grommets. That's kind of my feeling when I see grommets. I have found a tool that makes it easy. It is, where is it? Right here. And I will link this tool below. I'm pretty sure I got it off of Amazon. This little grommet press tool made it so easy to install these grommets. It comes with nickel ones. And you want to look for eyelet grommets with a 10 millimeter diameter. That's what this pattern calls for. There are force fit grommets and screw-in grommets. You can try all of those, but this little tool and these eyelet grommets, it was super easy. I show you how I did that as well. So don't let the grommet thing scare you off from making this bag. I would say this is an intermediate bag, but like I say, you can do anything. Go slow, take your time, go step by step. You guys will you'll absolutely love it. I know you will. I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope this is helpful. I will try and link everything that I talked about in this video down below in the description. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions on any of it. I try and watch out and answer them. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be awesome. And let's start making this really cute bucket bag. Okay, let's go over all of our pieces. I will show you, as I show you the pieces, what I've already done on them. So there's a few things that you need to prep. We'll prep some of the stuff in the video today, but there were a few things that I could do ahead of time to make the video go a little smoother. Okay, so I am using all pebbled faux real vinyl from Tulipy on the outside and a mix of canvases on the inside. I think it'll be a good combo, I hope. Okay, so here is my base piece for my exterior. I already have my purse feet installed and I did my top stitch. I do have Decaville Heavy out of my seam allowances like she suggests in the pattern. I have all of my centers marked and ready to go. This is my big main panel piece. I have it marked on the back, top and bottom, and then there are center marks that you need to mark, transfer marks from the pattern to this, which I do have here, here, here. There should be 3 on each side. I will also be marking the handles on that as well when we get to that part to put on the handles. So there's one of those. Front panel piece A. Come on, there we go. This is my drawstring. So my drawstring that goes through the grommets. I have the center marked. I have tape on it. I am doing the shorter length. I am doing 2 zipper end caps. You want to do knots. You do a little bit longer of a length, okay? My handles. I've got 2 of those and I did prep them like she has in the pattern. Okay, this part is important because you are putting rivets through and it's a reinforcement. So I'm definitely doing how she says in the pattern because her patterns are always very well written. I'm not changing anything. I'm going to follow the instructions. All right, so I have 2 handles. I have my exterior top and bottom panels. You should have 4 total, so 2 top and 2 bottom. So my top ones, I have my grommet holes marked on the right side. She says to mark them on the right side. I marked them on the other side first, but that's fine. I also have my drop line marked. This is a drop-in lining. So I have that marked and I labeled what the top of the piece was for these 2 top pieces. And then these are my 2 base pieces. I did some Decaville Light on those 2 pieces because the bottom of the bag, you really don't want that to sag. So I think those 2 pieces are pretty important. My interior top panel piece, I have these marked with my drop-in line. I have a little bit of Decaville Light here for my snap. We're doing a magnetic snap on these. And then she also has you do some markings right here on the sides of each of these. That is important for the rivets that we're going to put in at the end. I think those markings, I think I have to do it on the exterior too. I'll have to reread the pattern real quick, but I have all of those marked. So those are important. Don't forget to do those. I have my 2 D-ring connectors. I have Decaville Light down the center, my center marked and tape. We will be folding those in and top stitching. My little tab for my drawstring. I am edge coating it right now. So that is the only thing I'm gonna edge coat on this bag. There's lots of different things you could edge coat. The overlay, she had a couple of pieces in there, but I think I'm just doing the little drawstring tab. So I have my second layer of base coat on it. I'll bring it over so you can see it. I top stitched the 2 pieces together and I'm doing those base coat and paint around it. My side pocket pieces. These are my side pocket piece Ds. I have 2 exteriors and 2 linings. My center pocket piece C, 2 exteriors and 2 linings. My back panel piece B, I have 1, and again, my centers are marked top and bottom. onto the lining, I have my lining base panel piece, my slip pocket, and my slip pocket trim piece, my interior zip pocket, and my zipper overlay. And then my 2 lining panel pieces. Okay, you should have 1, 2. That is everything material-wise that you need for this. For hardware, you are going to need that zipper and a zipper pull for the overlay zipper pocket on the inside. She suggests a 14mm snap, so I will try that. I have my swivel clips for a longer strap. I did not cut out a longer strap yet. I just have the handles. I'm going to do that off camera. A strap's a strap. Her instructions for her strap are amazing, so you definitely should follow those. So I'll probably do a shoulder strap later, but I have my 3/4 inch swivel clips for that. I've got my 2 3/4 inch D-rings, my 2 zipper end caps for that drawstring, and then my cute little metal label. And I have 2 more reinforcement pieces. I'm trying to think what these are for. I'm not sure yet, so we shall see. I have those just in case. And then grommets. Grommets. You guys, I have a love-hate relationship with grommets. I finally think I'll be okay. Oh yeah, rivets. You need a longer post rivet. I have 9mm here, but if those aren't long enough, I have these Rolls Gold ones that I think are 12. And I figured if all else fails, I could do the rose gold one on the inside of the bag and then the nickel cap on the outside of the bag. So it'll still go with it. Because I only have rose gold. And I only have nickel grommets. So I had to adjust somewhere. All right, so grommets. I recently bought this tool. I'll try and link it on my Amazon shop. This is a grommet setter. I'm hoping it goes really nice and smooth. I have eyelet grommets. You guys, there are so many different types of grommets. So make sure whatever you use, you have the right tools to set it. So the eyelet grommets come with a back piece here and this front piece here. Okay. This is the size that she suggests in the pattern, a 10mm inner diameter, which I have. So there are my grommets. Here's my press. And then I'm also going to be using these dies that I got forever ago from Amazon. I use them for turn locks and all that kind of stuff all the time. Perfect for grommet holes. It's got a circular one that fits it exactly. So I'll be using this with my hand press to make those holes for the grommets. And I think that's it. Let's dig into this bag. Okay, so we're just going to start with our connectors. So I have my connectors right here, my center line and tape. I'm just going to fold those long raw edges into the center and top stitch down both sides. Well, actually not both sides. She top stitches all the way around because these are raw edged into your bag like that with a rivet. So you want them to look nice. Okay, so if you want to do the whole pull through your threads, you can do that as well. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to very carefully backstitch once. So that's what it should look like. I'm going to repeat for the second one. So after you have those done, we're going to do a couple of markings and punch some holes. Okay, so up from one end, you want it 1 1/8 inch away. So 1 1/8. And then you're going to find your center. So this is 3/4 inch wide. So your center should be about 3/8 right there. And then the other way is just a 1/2 inch in right there. And right there. And then you want to take a punch and punch those holes. One and two. Okay. I'm going to repeat for the other piece. All right, those are all prepped. I can put those aside. And then I want to get out my drawstring. I'm going to do my drawstring prep. So I have my center line marked. I have tape. I'm going to fold those raw edges in. And you're kind of doing this like you would a strap. Not kind of. You are doing this like you would a strap. So fold those edges in. And then I'm going to fold it one more time like that and sew it together. I am not going to worry about sewing this edge because my zipper end cap is going on there. But if you're doing knots, you need to make it a nice stitch all the way around. If you're using thicker material like me, it's going to be thick. It's going to be a struggle to fold it, but you can do it. Okay, that is my little drawstring guy. Like I said, I'm going to be putting zipper end caps down here. Looks good. All right, let's move on. We're going to move on to the handle. So I already have one sewn and finished. I love it. It looks great. So you're leaving the bottom part flat like this. This is what's attaching to the bag. And then the top part here is what's popping out. So we are going to do this again. So you need to do it twice. So I did it first so I know what I was doing. All right, so here is the prep we did on it. She has you put these little rivet reinforcers. She gives you the markings and the pattern. Make sure you do that. Again, like I said before, her patterns are so well written and her instructions are there for a reason. So I do follow. All right, so I'm going to fold my raw edges, my long raw edges to the center, and we will do our first row of stitches at 3/8 inch seam allowance. Here we go. Make sure it's that 3/8. All right, so I like to go and sew down the same direction each time, because I feel like if I were to come back the other direction, my handle would start to twist. My vinyl does have a little bit of a stretch, so I want to avoid that. I measured how far over from this foot is my 3/8 to the edge of here. So now I'm going to do it again on the other side. Okay, so after that is done, you want to take a ruler, and we are going to measure from the raw end up 9.5. Okay, because we need to know how much to fold it. So I'm gonna mark this 9.5. I'm gonna mark it front and back. For me, that's a little bit easier, so I can see it either way. Okay, so there's that marking, and then I'm going to take it from the end on this side up 9.5. And I'm just using my silver marking pen so it will wipe off when I'm done, okay? You don't have to do this next part, but I did it on my first one and I felt like it helped it stay folded. I'm going to put a piece of double-sided tape on the back side of this, in between, in the center of those two markings. So the center of those two markings is the center of our handle from here to here. That's where we're going to be sewing. That's going to be our folded part of the handle. You take that tape off, and then I'm going to clip it together, and I'm just going to sew from here to here, top stitching. And it doesn't really want to fold very easily right here because of that little reinforcement piece. But you kind of need that folded to get this beginning part. So just put a clip there. And I'm going to clip it and tape it. And the way it turns out now, that stitching that you did, it looks like it's a top stitch on this side and on this side. It's really cool how it's done. I love how she designed these handles. Okay, so I'm going to take it, I'm going to do an 1/8 inch seam allowance top stitch from here to here. Okay, all done. So you're going to do that twice. You will have 2 handles. I'm going to take a wipe and get off my silver markings. Okay. So pretty. So I did that twice. I have 2 of these. I went ahead and I changed my mind and I cut out the shoulder strap. So I'm going to go ahead and do my shoulder strap and show you the way that she does it, because I kind of really like the way that she does it. All right. So she has you mark on the wider piece first, 3/8 of an inch in to the middle. Okay. From the edge in. This is just going to be a placement line for your reinforcement strip here. I'm going to take some tape and I'm going to put it down that center. And then I'm going to put this little reinforcement strip down the center of this strap. Okay. You don't want it to go all the way to the edge, just a little bit down from the edge, right in the middle. Okay. Okay, so that's what we're looking at so far. And then you want to mark the center of this larger side on here. I'm going to use my chalk pen so it just rubs off easily. If you use a silver marking pen, make sure that you clean it off after. This chalk pen will just kind of brush off as we go, so that will be nice. Oops. Okay, beautiful. And then I want to do tape again and fold this into that line. I'm all out of my good 1/8 inch tape. I'm kind of bummed. I have some coming in the mail, but it doesn't come till tomorrow. I would recommend 1/8 inch tape, not quarter, like I am using. Okay. Fold this edge into that center line that we marked, or as close to. My material's kind of thick, so I'm wondering next time when I do this center piece, because my edges aren't meeting together, like they're not butting right up next to each other. I think it's because my material is thick, so next time I'll probably do that inner piece, like maybe an 1/8 inch shorter width-wise than what she suggests. Okay, so now top stitch 1/4 inch from each edge. That's what it looks like on that side. That's what it looks like on that side. Like I said, mine's thicker. I think next time I'll do the inner part a little bit thinner, but I like that. It's going to make a nice shoulder strap. Okay, put that aside. So I've got my handles, my straps, my zipper or my drawstring, and then I also finished my D-ring tab or my drawstring tab. Okay, so I glued these two pieces together. I top stitched around, and then I did a little edge paint. I did 2 layers of base and 2 of color. I think next time I might do 3 layers of base coat. It could use 1 more layer, but I like it. Looks good. Okay. All right, her next step is we just finish our crossbody strap, put the rivets and the hooks. I just like to use my rivet strap guide. She also has measurements in the pattern if you want exact placement. I'm just using my guide though. It works great every time. I use C and B. Okay. My hole punch. Now you could totally put a strap end on this if you would like. I think it would look really pretty with a strap end if you had them. Okay, just like that. I'll take it to my press and we'll press it, and then it'll be all the way done. It's really worth it to do all this little prep work beforehand, because I'll tell you, when you go to finish the bag and you still have all of these tiny little steps to do, it's kind of exhausting and a pain. So I always recommend getting all of these prep items done first. Okay. You'll thank me at the end of your bag. Okay, I'll go press those and we'll go to the next part of the pattern. Okay, so we're going to move to the side pockets and the center pockets. Make sure that they are positioned correctly. So the, well, make sure I'm telling you this. The center pocket is more narrow on the top than it is the bottom. That's the one she recommends putting your label on. I did the measurements that she had in the pattern for my label placement. I think it's going to be good. And then your side ones are wider at the top and more narrow at the bottom. So they're opposite. Okay, so don't let that confuse you. You're going to, on all 8 of these pieces, 2 linings, 2 exteriors for each of them, you're going to draw a 3/4 inch line down from the top on all of them on the back side, and then put some tape on all of them. Okay. Okay, the way she has you do these pockets, it's so your lining doesn't peek up from your exterior. If you were to sew them like a regular slip pocket, wrong sides together, sew it along the top, and then flip them out like this and top stitch, sometimes that lining can poke up above your exterior, so you see that. She does it this way, so that's not the case. So you're doubly sure to get that lining down behind your exterior. So you want to take all these pieces and fold it to the line. Fold the top edge of your piece to the line like this. You're going to do this 4 times. 4 pockets 4 times. Okay? And then I'm going to lay a tiny piece of tape just so it stays where I want it to stay on the edge of my lining here. Right there. Okay. And you want to place this, the top edges, like I think she says 1/16 of an inch down from the top. So you want it so it's not peeking out from the other side. So very, very small amount, but down enough, okay, that I can't see it from this side. It'll hang off the bottom a little bit. You can either trim that off or not worry about it. So now I'm going to top stitch this on. And then I'll baste all of my edges as well. So when you're done, that's what it should look like. I caught that lining. If you don't catch that lining, that's a problem. So you'll have to double stitch. That's why you just barely lay it down enough that you can't see it from the front side. If you want to trim off this little overhang down here, you can do that. I'll go ahead and trim it off so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to do this 4 times with all 4 pockets. Okay, when you're all done, you should have 4 pockets. I'm going to mark my centers top and bottom. I will use a silver marking pen so I can see it on the front, and then we will go to placing these onto our main panel. All right, here we go. So we're going to piece this together. So this is my main panel. I have all my markings. You measure up from the bottom, and then you measure these centers that are all on the pattern piece I transferred. And those are going to be important for the pocket. So you should have 1 line across and 3 lines down. I'm going to start with my nameplate pocket because this is the front center of my bag. She has just like masking tape holding this in place. I'm just going to put the tiniest strip of double-sided 1/8 inch tape here to hold my piece where I want it to. This is a lot of just placement and then sewing, basting on these pockets, okay? So I have my centers marked on my pocket here. I want to line up the center top part with this center line and this line going across. If it falls a little short down here, that's okay. That'll be made up for in seam allowance. I'm going to baste it down across and back up. Make sure you have this main panel piece going correctly. You were supposed to mark the top and the bottom so you don't get that confused. All right, after that is on, I'm going to add my side pockets. So same thing with these side pockets here. I have my top and bottom center on them. I'm going to put some tape. Maybe. I can't wait for my other tape to get here. All right. Come on now. All right, so we'll start on this side. So I have my center and my how far up right there. I'm going to line this up with that center point and line. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to do the same thing. It's 2 pockets now. So my third one goes here. Okay. Okay, here we go. So there's my panel. Last piece is our center back piece here. Okay, so same thing. You want to mark, have that marking going up from the bottom. It's wider on the bottom, more narrow on the top. Make sure it's laying correctly. I had to double check. And then you want your center. Okay. And then our last piece will go on this. Right there. All right, this is what we should be looking at. We've got the 3 pockets on the big piece and then this one on this. Okay, next step. Okay, so we are going to put our handle onto our front main body piece here. So I have it marked 6.5 inches up front and back. So I knew my placement for my tape. Don't go farther than that, and make sure you can see it on the front, okay? Both ends. And then I remarked the placement for my handle on here so I can see it. Okay, I can see it. I'm going to take my first side here and align it with those markings. It should cover the edge of your pockets. Like that. Okay, it's kind of at an angle. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to start from the bottom, I'm going to sew up, and I'm stopping at that 6.5 inch mark. Usually we go over and back down. She has you stop. So we're going to do that. Now, if you want to pull through your threads, you can. I'm just, I should have. That's okay. I backstitched. I'll pull through my threads on the next one. My thread is not contrasting, so it's not the end of the world if I don't pull it through, but I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so let's do the other side. Now, if you come over this little pocket hump and your foot drags, you need to put something under it. I love these little hump jumpers I got from Danny over at Measure and Cut. You can put something under the front side right here so it doesn't go and drag on that back pocket as you get over that. Do you see how it didn't drag that time? It just went right over it. It's a good tool to have. Okay, this time I'm just going to stop and leave my threads long. I'll show you how she wants you to do it there. Okay, left them long. And I'm going to pull it through the back and tie it. Okay, just like that. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to do the other one now. Pockets are a little off center, but that's okay. Just make sure you cover up those basting stitches. Okay, here we go. Same thing. Oh, my stitches skipped where I jumped it. That rarely happens. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna have to redo that. See? Skipped stitches happen to the best of us. I could see my foot doing it too when I did that. Naughty, naughty. All right, I'll go back and fix that. Let's see if it does it on the other side. Maybe I won't do the hump jumper coming down. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I didn't do it that time. I wonder if I did something with the hump jumper that made it skip. So I'll go back and fix that, but let's pull this one through, tie it off. I'll fix that off camera real quick and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, handle's all fixed. I'm gonna add this center back panel here along this side. We're gonna go right sides together. Make sure it's the right direction. You're going to clip that on and sew that on at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Go slow. She suggests changing to a zipper foot if you need to because of this bulk here. I think my skinny foot will be fine. So we'll see what we've got here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, my skinny foot just gets by it. If you don't have a skinny foot and just a regular walking foot, you may have to change to a zipper foot for this part. Because that bulk may screw up your stitches. All right, I want to fold that out and I am going to lay the seam flat. And I'm going to top stitch this seam underneath it flat, okay, on both sides. All right, so now we want to place our other handle, and it's supposed to be a 1/2 inch away from each seam on each side. So let me try that. From each on either side. Okay, let's try it. So right here is the placement for this one. And then right here. Let's try it. So I can see the markings. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but I can see them. All right, and I have my other handle all prepped. Make sure you're starting with this edge and not this edge. Okay, this one. Yep, and then we're going to repeat the same stitching on this one. You stop at that marking and pull through your stitches. Right there. All right, let's do it. We'll go with camera 2, see if that is a good angle. Okay, I'll tie through those threads. Okay, now on to the other side. Looking good. All right, next step. Okay, so we want to complete our circle here. Okay, so I'm going to take the two sides together and we are now going to sew this side and it will make a tube. She suggests if you have a cylinder arm for the next couple steps, it might be easy. It is doable on a flatbed because once you create this tube, you're going to have to sew through it to flatten that seam allowance and top stitch, and then you need to sew on the handle. I have my cylinder arm all hooked up and ready to go because why not make it easy on myself? I might show you first how to do it on the flatbed though, for those of you who sew at a flatbed at home, so you know how to do this part, okay? So, here we go. Same seam allowance as the other side. Again, zipper foot if you need to. Okay, so if you are on a flatbed, you are going to want to push the tube through. So this top part, you're going to want to push it all the way under here before you start. It'll make it easier as you come forward, and then you'll start back here and sew up. All right, so I'll do one side and show you. So I need to flatten out my seam. Looks like my material moved a bit on me when I was sewing it. on, seam. Okay. Got that seam flat. Okay, and then you start sewing from the back edge forward. So it's a little awkward getting in there, but then when you come through, you're good. Okay. Since I'm already at this point, I'll just repeat that. Looks like I didn't flatten it all the way right there. That's okay. Okay, totally doable on a flatbed. Would have been easier on a cylinder arm. So now you need to place the handle in, and same thing, you're going to be sewing it up. I'm going to switch over to my cylinder arm for that just to make my life easier. And then we'll go from there. Okay, I changed my mind, decided to do it on my flatbed. I think I can do it this way. You can put the top layer through and do it the way that we top stitched it down if you want to do it. I'm going to try it this way though. All right, here we go. Make sure my handle's laying where I want it to lay. Okay. There's no good way to see this. Sorry. Trying my hardest here to get it at a good angle. Okay, there's one side. That wasn't horrible. Very doable on a flatbed. All right, let's sew the other side. Then, okay, so I will tie off that thread, but I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Okay, so there's the front. There's the cute back. I didn't quite get my pocket stitches cover there. That stinks, but I'm pretty sure that's on me. It must have shifted a little bit when I sewed it, but that's the only spot. It looks really cute. My handles line up correctly. So I'm going to tie that thread off and we'll head to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to add the bottom panels here, the exterior bottom panels right here. Should be the one with the Decaville light on them. I'm going to put them right sides together, and along the short ends, sew them at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I will then press that seam open and top stitch it flat along each side, and then we'll attach it to our exterior main body. All right, here we go. It is important that you have your centers marked on these pieces as well. I've marked centers on every piece in the bag. Just keep that as a rule of thumb when you're making bags. Mark your centers. All right, and then I'm going to flatten that seam like we did on the main body piece and top stitch on the right side of the panel. Okay, just like that. Seam's flat. I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, this side next. Okay. Now we want to attach this to here. So I'm going to keep this inside out, and I'm going to turn this so it's right side out, this tube, and I'm going to stick it in there just like that. I'm going to line up my centers here. Line up all four of your centers, okay? And then we are going to attach this to the main body. So I am going to sew that on. Probably I'm going to go from the inside, like here. All right. There we go. Okay, seam allowance is in the pattern. Make sure you're paying attention to what your seam allowance is. I may have to go a second time around if I don't catch, because my pockets were a little short on my main body. If I don't cover those up, I may have to go a little shorter for this. We'll see. All the way around. I think we're good. I'm gonna double check to make sure everything is covered. Yeah, it worked. All right, so you want to top stitch. I'm pretty sure with the seam allowance going down. Let me double check that I'm not telling you incorrect. Yep. So we are going to top stitch along the bottom part. I'm still just going to stay on this machine. It's working pretty good so far. I don't feel like I need to go to my cylinder arms. So we're going to keep it on. I want this to be maybe back here, my starting point. Okay, here we go. Let's top stitch. Awesome. All right, that bottom panel should be all beautiful and top stitched on there. Let's move to the next couple steps. Okay, so next step is we need to baste on our strap connectors here. So make sure you're at the side center of your bag. It shouldn't be in between your two handles. It should be on the side center. And then we are going to take your connector with the hole that is farther away from the end here. Okay, that's the one that's being clipped up next to the edge. So you want to center it right sides together. So you should see the wrong side of your connector here. Okay, wrong side. We're gonna baste that on, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm going directly to the other side here. Rivet that is farther away from the edge, or the rivet hole that is farther away from the edge. Centered right sides together and baste. Your basting stitch is a little bit bigger as well. Beautiful. Okay, put this to the side. You're going to get your top two panel pieces here. All right, so I'm going to show you the backs. So I have the top marked here. I want to make sure you can see that. Yeah, okay. So I have my top marked. I have my drop-in line. I did my grommet holes on the back, but you're supposed to have them on the front, so I have them both on both. And then I have these two lines here that you were told to draw in the beginning of the video. So those are going to be important because a rivet has to go through this seam right here when you do your strap D-ring connectors. So it's really important you leave this tiny little opening in your seam. All right, so make sure you're putting these the correct way, that your top and top are together. You know, right sides together, and you're going to sew this seam, but you are going to stop and backstitch at each of those little lines and leave this middle part unsewn. I've done this, I did this on a bag a long time ago. I don't remember what bag it was, but it was for the same purpose. So we can put a rivet through without breaking any of the stitching, which I think is genius. Okay, stopping right there. And then I'll start right there. I will show you what that looks like. Okay, see, I sewed, I stopped, I sewed the rest. So this little area right there has a little hole. That's what we want. We can go ahead and open that up and top stitch along each side. Whoops. Okay, and then as you can see right here, I've got a little hole for my rivet to slide through. Pretty cool, right? All right, so I'm going to repeat for this other side. Okay, so now I have a tube again. All right, we're going to attach it to our main body piece now. Probably want to move our handles down. And let's see, that's my front. I want my bottom side to be the one I'm attaching, not the top, okay? Make sure that that is the way you're doing it. Side seams on the side. Make sure everything's lining up correctly, right side to right side, and centered. So my side seam of my tube should be lining up here with my handle, my connector. Sorry, not my handle. Should be lining up with my connector there. She's gonna be thick. I'm doing this wrong. Stop. I'm doing this wrong. I didn't have it right side to right side. I'm such a dork. Okay, there we go. Right side to right side. I want the bottom being clipped in between my handles and the side seams. Okay, there we go. Duh. All right, so my top is down. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. I caught it. Good thing. Okay, I've got all my centers lined up, and now I'm going to fit everything else in there. If your top and bottom tube panels are not fitting correctly into your main panel, then something is off in a seam allowance somewhere. That would be my first thing to troubleshoot. Because these are fitting pretty nicely and easily. I'm not having to do much. So as long as you are following your seam allowances and paying attention to that, you should be lining up nicely. Okay, I know I put a lot of clips in, but this is slippery vinyl, so I don't really want it to move as I sew it. All right, here we go. We are going to sew that again, just like we did the bottom. I'm going to check my bobbin real quick, though. I heard it making a clinking sound. I'll probably be able to sew this, but then I'll need a new one. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Or something like that. All right, here we go. Oops. You guys should see how many clips I have on my floor after I sew a bag. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, whenever I go to adjust my bag, make sure that your needle is in your project. If your needle isn't down in your project, you might move everything and be sad. Okay. It's all top stitched, or not top stitched. It's all attached. Okay. We're going to pull it out and top stitch just like we did with the base piece. You are going to top stitch with your connectors. Fold it up like this, and your seam allowance is going, just a minute, let me double check. Seam allowance, press towards exterior middle. So your seam allowance is going down. So you are top stitching along your main middle piece, this exterior middle piece, not the top panel like we did with the bottom, okay? I need to wind a new bobbin and then we'll do that. Okay, new bobbin. We're gonna top stitch this. You could pull threads through and tie it, or I just like to start my stitching somewhere on the back where it's not as noticeable. Totally up to you. Remember, the seam allowance is going down towards the main body of the bag for this top stitch, okay? Here we go. Okay. The last thing we have to do on this main piece right now is finish connecting our handles. So I'm going to turn this right side out and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, it's so cute. There's the front. There's the back. Okay, so these handles need to not be so floppy. We are going to sew where we left off here, come up and go across where this stitching is here and back down. So we need to secure each one to the bag. I think it's easier if we have it turned, inside out. So I'm going to turn it back the other way, attach them where they need to be, and sew those on. Okay, so we're starting where we left off here, coming up, across, and back down. Now this is the hole where you can leave your tails long, pull it through, and tie. I'll do that since I was already doing it on everything else. All right, so let's pull it back through. Luckily, it is not a hard bag to turn since it's just vinyl with a little bit of Decaville. Okay. I'm gonna get some tape, some big mama tape here. And I will be putting a little piece of tape under the handle so it stays put while I sew it, okay? Right there. Okay, I'm just going to do one side at a time. So we'll do this side first. And I have to push the machine. I have to push my material underneath the foot again to get up and around. So I want to make sure I have both my threads here. All right, here we go. Get my needle down so I can see it. Right there. Okay. All right, I'm just showing you up close so you can see. That one's still attached. Okay. Up, across, back down, handles attached. I'm going to pull through those threads and tie them off in the back. I'm going to repeat for all 4 handles, okay? So do it for all 4 handles. I'll do the other 3 off camera just to save some time, and then we will go to the next step. Okay, my handles are all nice and beautiful and attached. They look great. Okay, so next for the exterior, we attach our base. Have my centers all on there. My centers on here. I'm just going to sit here and clip away for a minute. It's just lots of clipping and lining up, and then we'll see how everything fits. I'm not sure if I'm going to staple my curves or just do some basting. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So let's see how this fits. Yeah, I'll have to do some clips just in this curve right here. It fits pretty dang good though. I don't think I'll have to fight it, which is always a plus. Okay, so let's get We're just going to do some snips. There's like no good way to hold this. Now your seam allowance is only 3/8, so make sure your snips are not crazy big. And depending on your material, you don't need a ton of them. That should be good. I don't think I'm going to do staples. I think I'm going to do my 1/8 inch basting around like I like to do. And then I'll take it at the full seam allowance. It's kind of my go-to anymore. I seem to have the best results when I do that. But if staples is your jam, staple those curves. You're going to want to keep these all in place. Okay? Okay, that's what you should have. I like to do it this way with it flat and go around. It's up to you if you want to do it from the inside and go around. I feel like everybody has their own method that they're comfortable with. So just figure out what works for you. I'm going to baste at an 1/8 inch and then I'll go in at my full seam allowance. Okay, now I'm going to go around at the full seam allowance. I'm happy with that. Now, because I'm a little bit crazy and really want my base to look good, I'm going to take one more round of stitches to the right of my main seam allowance all the way around. It's just going to help reinforce that main row of stitching for when I turn it out, and those stitches won't hopefully show from the exterior of the bag when it's turned out. So right next to that row stitching, I'm going to do a quick round. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of trimming and then we'll turn this out just to see what we got. Okay, just kidding. Before we turn this out, there's a couple things we need to do. I trimmed down my base. I trimmed about 1/8 of an inch off of my base. Okay, so it's not so bulky. I put tape all along this top edge because this is a drop-in bag. So she has you do this now. So go ahead and hopefully it doesn't come undone when we turn it out. I usually do this after it's turned out, but we're going to do it like she's telling us because there's a couple other things that need to be done. So I'm going to fold my top edge down to my line that we drew at the beginning in your prep steps. Probably put some clips on there too to hold it in place. Oops. Okay, that's all folded down. So you should have 2 more little scrap pieces of vinyl with tape on them that you prepped at the very beginning. 4 of them went on our handles and we had 2 left. And I was like, I don't know if I need them. Well, this is where we need them. You put this right underneath this side connector piece on the back, right where your fold ends. You're going to put that scrap piece right there. Okay. And then she wants you to go ahead and do your hole through it. So you should have this hole through the connector here. You should have a hole through your seam right here. And you want to line that up and make a hole through this piece right back here. So it's all ready to go when you put your rivet in, okay? Just kind of prepping that. Although, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, man, I'm kind of thinking a actual hole. Wrong tool. I feel like that's going to close back up when I go to put my rivet on because we don't do that till the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and poke an actual hole through it. There we go. So when you go to put your rivet on, it should go through all of that. Beautiful. Okay, do that to the other side as well. I think I'll just punch a hole. No, let me find out where I need to punch it. Not my thumb. All right. Right there. Beautiful. Okay. I'm just putting some clips on these seams right here because I feel like they'll pop open. All right, so that's all prepped. And what now? Okay, then we move to our lining, guys. All right, so there's our exterior. I feel like I could turn this out. Can I? Yeah. Well, let's turn it right side out. I want to see what I got. Don't you guys? I want to see what I got. She's cute. Oh my goodness. This is a very cute bag. She's very cute. Wow. All right. That is adorable. Let's head to the lining. My base looks fabulous. That's a good looking base. That's such a cute bag. All right. All right, let's go to our lining. I have my lining here marked out for placement. I have my overlay. You know I love a good overlay. They just really make that zipper pocket even better. All right, so I have tape down the center of each side. I'm going to center this onto my marking. Beautiful. And then I'm going to sew around it. It's just an inside pocket. I'm not going to do the whole pull the threads through on this one. I'm going to backstitch. I'm going to do it. Call me crazy. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to cut that center out. Just enough so it's away from the overlay. You don't have to completely cut every single bit of it out. Just so that it doesn't show from the front. Beautiful. All right, I am going to put this zipper in. I've got tape on both edges of the right side. Okay. I want it closing to the left. I like to fold this down so I can find the center here as best I can. Move it up. Whoops. Let's try that again. Move it up. Keep on there. Get out of my way, zipper pull. Okay. That's what I get for using a big pull. Okay, I like it. Looks good. Happy with it. Press it on there. Get my zipper pocket. I've got tape right side, top and bottom. Take the tape off. I'm going to lay it right side down along the bottom edge of the zipper here going down. And center that. Okay, so that's what it looks like from the back. That's what it looks like from the front. It's going up. I'm going to sew starting just before the box and coming down and ending just after. Again, I'm just back stitching. I'm being crazy. I just... All right, so I like to put a piece of tape right there and fold down my zipper pocket so it stays nice and out of my way. Just like that. I'm going to fold this down. Okay, beautiful. Okay, and now I'm going to start here, come down and around and end right over here. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I gotta put the other end of the pocket up. I've done that many times, guys. I have actually finished a pocket without pulling this up. I finished a pocket without putting anything on. A lining-free pocket. It happens. Beautiful. Now, finish your sewing. And we do not need to leave any holes open in this bag because it is a drop-in lining. Looks good. Just melting any threads you got hanging out there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, no, that's good. I'm going to close up my sides here. So I like to do it from the front and just pull back my liner and we'll sew up those two sides. All done with that zipper pocket. You can, if you have any, I cut my zipper a little bit longer than it needed to be just out of habit. That's just what I do. So I'm just going to trim my overhang and then make sure I melt that zipper that I trimmed. Always melt your zippers on when you cut them. All right. Let's head to the slip pocket. Okay, she does her slip pockets the way I prefer to do mine. Maybe her patterns are where I figured out this was the method I liked. So we have the back here. I measured 1 inch in each long edge, and then I'm putting tape. And then we are folding those edges to the line. This is my go-to slip pocket method for bags like this. Beautiful. And then I'm going to put some tape, or you can baste. That's fine. At this top edge, and then I'm going to fold this up to meet the top. Beautiful. And then I have my trim piece here. I have my center of the trim piece marked, and I have some tape on it. And I'm going to fold it over the top edge. I have decided I'm going to put it so it's longer in the back of my piece. So when I go to top stitch it down, it will catch it. Usually I'm like, make it even, but I don't think so anymore. Sorry for the barking dog. Okay, here we go. Top stitch that down. If you have any overhang, just trim it so it's even. Looks good. See, I caught the back because it was longer. All right, so here's my lining. I have my marking. She gives you how far up to put this pocket. And then I am going to just put tape on the back bottom edge here, so it stays put when I sew it on, okay? Right there. Beautiful. Okay. I'm just gonna fold it in half like this to get my center. All right, I'm gonna start here, come down, around, and back up. She has you going just up under the trim and not sewing on the trim and putting rivets in. If you want to do it that way, go for it. I just sewed it. Both ways are great. So there's my pocket. Beautiful. Okay, we have our 2 pockets done. And then the other thing we need to do is add our magnetic snap to this top piece here. So I have my placement already to go. So I'm just going to install my magnetic snap. You can tell I was cooking with tomatoes or an orange bell pepper. Sorry about that. I made dinner. I made taco soup. I need to go eat it. All right, I've got these 14 millimeter ones. I'm not sure if 18 would work. It depends if it passes all of the little areas here. So I'll have to figure that out. I'll look at it and let y'all know. I need to remark so I can see. All right, so the placement is on the pattern piece and I transferred it. I put some Decavelle light behind it because it's a snap. And I always want to interface with something behind the snap. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to just do my little cut lines here with my handy dandy razor, blade, whatever we want to call it. It doesn't matter which side goes on which because they're both the same. Washer. Push the prongs in or out. I don't think it really matters. For me, I don't know why. I feel like they're more secure when they're pushed in. It could just be nonsense. I don't know. Okay, and then make sure that you cover those with something, whether it be tape, interfacing, self-adhesive interfacing like I do, whatever you want to do. Beautiful. Okay, so we want to now sew these two pieces onto our lining separately. We're not putting them together, huh? Okay. All right, so make sure you're not sewing. So my piece goes like that. This is my top edge. I don't want my top edge piece side being sewn in. So I have all the markings there, but I have my centers here. And we're gonna sew this on at a full seam allowance. And then we're going to flip it, which way? Up. Seam allowance going down, and we will top stitch on the lining. And you're gonna do this to both lining pieces. Here we go. are done with our two. It says to trim this behind here. Trim that down a little bit. And then we'll go to the next step. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to finish putting this lining all together. So you want to take these two pieces right sides together, and we are just going to clip them down the two sides here. Now what we did on the exterior top piece with the lines here where you stopped and then skipped and then started again, we're doing that on the linings as well because the rivet that we're putting through has to go through all these layers. So we're going to leave that little opening again and cross our fingers that it all lines up fabulously together. Okay, so I am going to take this from the top, 3/8 inch seam allowance, stop here, skip to that line, and then come down. I don't think we increase the seam allowance. There's no need to do a different seam allowance because of the way this this lining is shaped. She kind of makes it smaller for a reason, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, so I'm going to sew this first tiny little section here. Helps if I turn my machine on. I took a break. Okay, and then I will start again right here and come all the way down. All right, so you have that little gap right there. I'm going to do the same for this side. All right, beautiful. The other thing she has you do is make a snip about right here and right here. And that's going to help for when we lay this seam allowance flat for that drop-in seam or drop-in liner. Okay, so we need to add our base. I'm also just going to trim this down a little bit. I'm not going to press my seam open because mine never stays open, so I'm just going to trim mine down a little bit. It works best if you have cotton to press it open, but with canvas and stuff, it doesn't really stay. All right, there we go. Okay, we are going to add this base piece just like we did with our exterior. Although when you're doing lining canvas pieces, I don't feel like I have to baste first. I feel like I can just go around at the full seam allowance the first time. So I probably will just do it all in one swoop. Definitely need to make some snips here to get this to fit. I'm also using waterproof canvas, which has no give to it, so it's a little bit trickier. Okay, it's all on there. I'm going to go around at my full seam allowance and we'll go from there. All right, I've got it all sewn. I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna trim it down. I got one tiny pucker there. I'd rather have a love pucker on the inside than the outside, so that's okay. complete. That looks great. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we need to fold down the top edge. I'm going to put some tape and we will get that all turned down. Just a minute. I'm going to lay this seam open here. So I definitely think if you were to use a bigger snap right here, you'd have to move this down a little bit. Do you see how close it is to it? And that's a 14mm snap. So if you use an 18, you definitely need to move it down a little bit from the top. Okay, there she is. We'll put the two layers together. All right, so here's my exterior. So cute. All right, I want my zipper pocket on the back, so put it in there like you want it. Oh my gosh, such a cute bag. I cannot with this. Okay. Now you want to line everything up. So you should be able to see your centers here. You can line those up here. You could put some double-sided tape in between all your layers if you want. In case it's slippery. I'm going to get some key fob pliers right there and press the seam down really good so it's not too thick. Just go ahead and do it all. That's really cute. All right, I'm going to get my key fob thingamajigs. Oops, you could take a mallet, you know, and hammer this down too a little bit. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to squeeze this seam. It just, even though my machine can handle the thickness, it does help everything go a little bit smoother if I've pressed it flat, okay? So even if you're like, my machine can do those layers, that's fine. But this will help, I promise you. Whoops. Slipped. Okay. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to take this to my cylinder arm and go very slowly and top stitch all of this together. All right, make sure your layers didn't slip. Pretty good. It almost slipped right there when I was going where my magnetic snap is. But we're good. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Next step. Okay, we have to make the holes for the grommets. I've got my little die. Like I said, Amazon. And I have press plates hooked up to my press. The place I got my press plates no longer is in business and carries them. So I think you can get press plates from CanSnap or Amazon. All right, so I just have all my markings. I did them with permanent pen, so they stayed the entire time I was making the bag. I lay this right on the circle. Goes right through. Super easy. Perfect hole. Kind of amazing. Definitely a great purchase if you are an avid bag maker. All right. Well, my holes are punched out. Let's install some grommets. Okay. This is my first time using this tool. Again, I'll try and connect it or list it in the description down below, the link to it. It came with nickel grommets. I did order other finishes, and I think I will be carrying grommets on my website soon like these, so stay tuned. The bigger nice side goes on the outside, and your hole needs to be tight enough to just like squeeze around the grommet. If your grommet just slips right in with no stretch, then it's going to be too loose. Your vinyl needs to have a stretch. And then you put this backing on here, or you could put it in the tool. You could also put it in the tool like that. All right, no, other way, like this. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Oh, it's magnetic. That's cool. Okay, in the tool. All right, fingers crossed. Here we go. Boop. That totally worked. One grommet installed. All right, I'm gonna do that all the way around the bag. We'll get all these grommets in. Obviously, there's so many different types of grommets out there. There's screw-in. There's, what are they called? Forced fit grommets. So many kinds. This is just what I had on hand and what is working for me today. I may try other ones. I've tried screw-in and force fit before. They're both great. Oh, those turned out really, look at that. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep doing that, and then we'll put in the drawstring. Okay, we are definitely in the home stretch here. I will show you a couple things I did. So I installed my grommets. They all installed beautifully. I didn't have any issues. I put on my D-ring connectors through all my little openings. I did have to use a bigger rivet. You need at least a 12 millimeter post rivet. So the inside of mine are rose gold. Wah, wah. That's okay. I used a nickel cap, so there's still nickel on this side. It works. You definitely need those bigger rivets for the sides. And then I did the rivets on the handles. She gives the placement in the pattern. Those were just regular 9 millimeter ones. So on each side of the handle. And now we want to put on our little drawstring. So you want to mark the center back here, so when you thread it through, you know where the center is at. So we're going to go through here. This is the back of the bag. And where's my center? Right here. Okay, I want that to stay. And now you're just weaving. You're just weaving it through. It's short. Maybe I should have gone longer. But I guess it's scrunched in, isn't it? guess if you go longer, you'll have a big old long thing. So that's probably perfect. I did the measurements that she had for the zipper end cap one. So that's probably, oh my gosh, it's probably perfect. Look how cute she is. Okay, so I have my zipper end caps I need to put on. And then my little drawstring thing that I edge coated. Where's my tiny screwdriver? There she is. All right, so we'll put these on. Not sure. They'll probably lay like that or like this in the, what did she say? She has them laying like this. Okay. Go to your home. Cute. Okay, there's one. All right, got my little tab here. So it's gonna lay like that, and this is going over and over. So you want the cords to be in the middle. I think about right there. About right there. Okay, so I'm going to clip it with a clip. And then I'll do my rivets. Okay. Oh, that's cute. All right, so actually, she does 1/4 of an inch in from the edge and does her 2 little rivet marks. So I want to do it so about right there. So that's the center of the tab. Okay, I'm gonna go punch my holes and then we'll install the rivets on there and then we're done. Right? Are we done? Yes. Okay, here she is. We are all finished. I've got all of the little things on. I put my drawstring with the rivets. I've got my little zipper end caps and my strap here. I put this on and I think I would either shorten it or make it adjustable for me. I think I would want it just like right maybe there if it was on me. So I would suggest kind of figuring out where you want it for you. I could easily adjust the length right here, which I might do if I keep this. I'm not sure if I'm going to yet or not. I do absolutely love it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was helpful in making this gorgeous new pattern. She just knocked this one out of the park. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps me out. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.